Meet your new favourite thruple, the US, the UK and Australia.
And so, friends, AUKUS is born.
It sounds strange and all these acronyms, but it's just a good one.
Early this morning, Bo, Joe and SCO announced a new trilateral agreement to up security in the Indo-Pacific region, one that will allow Australia to access the secret US tech required to build a fleet of nuclear submarines.
These are conventionally armed submarines that are powered by nuclear reactors.
Australia is not seeking to acquire nuclear weapons.
None of the leaders mentioned China out loud, but the superpower was obviously tuning in.
Countries should not build exclusionary blocks targeting or harming the interest of third parties. In particular, they should shake off their Cold War mentality and ideological prejudice.
Late today, a Chinese government spokesperson doubled down, accusing Australia of, quote, aggravating a regional arms race and blaming us for the strained relations.
This decision is being driven entirely by China's own behaviour. So if China wasn't demonstrating the kinds of behaviours that it has in the South China Sea, I don't think either Australia or the US would be going down this path.
It's not just China's nose that's out of joint. AUKUS has made things AUKS with the Kiwis, who made it clear the subs aren't welcome anywhere near their shores.
Prime Minister Morrison and indeed all partners are very well versed and understand our position on nuclear-powered vessels.
But it's particularly upsetting for France, and not just because it's been left out of the ménage à trois. This announcement nukes the $90 billion deal we made with them 5 years ago to build diesel-powered subs. The country's foreign affairs minister saying the decision marks an absence of coherence that France can only observe and regret.
We are going to be dependent on the supplier of that technology, whether it's the US or the French. So I think the thinking of the Australian government is we would much rather be dependent on our long-standing ally, the United States.
The decision we have made to not continue with the attack class submarine and to go down this path is not a change of mind, it's a change of need.
But can we handle the fallout of this nuclear news?
Well, Simon Birmingham is the Minister for Finance and joins us now. Simon, before we talk subs, we just got to watch this again together.
I want to thank that fellow down under. Thank you very much, pal. Appreciate it, Mr. Prime Minister.
On a level of 1 to 10, how AUKS is it that the US President doesn't know our Prime Minister's name, Simon?
Well, look, guys, pals, mates, friends, Joe Biden's known for being a folksy sort of guy, and that was clearly just his folksy character coming through.
Can I just ask, do you actually believe what you just said? Like, really, do you believe what you just said?
Sorry, who was that I was talking to?
Yeah, right.
OK, so let's talk subs. This is obviously to send a message to China. What's the message we're sending? We'll be good in a couple of decades. We'll be ready for you then?
Look, the message that we are sending is really one that Australia, as the 13th largest economy in the world, is one that invests in our own sovereign capability, invests in terms of ensuring that as a country we are prepared for our national security in the long-term future, and that we're willing to do so investing in the best of class, the best of type to suit the circumstances. But it's not targeted at any one country. Our desire is that what we do contributes to the type of balance and strategic relations across the region and the world that maintains a peaceful environment across the region.
So we are willing to invest, but this isn't yet a formal agreement. It's a plan to have a plan, if you like, and if it comes through, the subs won't arrive till 2040. There's another reading of this, which is that we've just explicitly sided with the declining superpower as opposed to the rising superpower, and in the process ensured that we have substandard submarines for the next 20 years.
Well, we have sided with our very long-term ally in the 71st year of the alliance and the partnership between Australia and the US. We've entered into this agreement with them, with the UK, because indeed we should always work together as countries who share values of democracy, values of freedom. They're all very important. But also we share trust in the relationship, and this is a firm commitment between the three countries for Australia to get the technology, the details, the designs, the know-how, the skills, the capabilities to be able to build these nuclear-powered submarines, and in doing so to give us the best possible subs. But we're not just doing that. Today we also announced that we are upgrading the Collins class, extending their life with upgraded systems. We're upgrading our air warfare destroyers, and we're investing in new missile and other technological capabilities underpinned in part by this agreement.
Simon, we've just paid $2.4 billion for attack-class submarines that we're never going to get. There'll probably be a breach of contract that some people are saying could cost us $100 a couple of $100 million. The PM has described this as a good investment. Put your barefoot investor hat on. How is it a good investment?
What we're making is a good investment in the future. Now, it would have been a bad investment for us to go on and spend another $90 billion in terms of developing and sustaining submarines when the advice we've received in the last few years, and particularly through the course of the last couple of years, has been that we can and need to do better. Times change, circumstances change, technology changes, and the changes that we face in terms of the detectability of conventionally powered submarines versus the capability of nuclear-powered submarines, and particularly the capability for us to sustain them without needing to have a domestic nuclear fuel cycle here in Australia, is really the game changer that means we could make this change right now, and it was the right change to make.
I've got a question. Get ready. One of the big differences about the nuclear-powered submarines as opposed to the diesel ones is that they can stay under the water for longer, sometimes months at a time. What are you going to do about food?
So you're right. Stealth is one of the big factors, and so they can stay a lot longer. Indeed, they can stay as long as, indeed, those practical considerations of food and managing the naval fleet, and particularly our sailors, allow. And that's why part of this whole work will be about training. As Joe Biden said today, this is an investment in cooperation between our sailors, our scientists, and our industries. And for the sailors, this will mean that we'll be working very closely with the UK and the US around what it's like to live, work, sail and work in a nuclear-powered submarine.
While we've got you, should Christian Porter be dropped from the front bench over his anonymous donations?
Look, I'm aware the Prime Minister made some statement today in terms of the fact that he's asking for advice around compliance with the Ministerial Code of Conduct. That's precisely what should happen.
All right, well, leave it there, pal. Thanks for your time tonight.
See you, guys, mate, friends, others.
From expert opinions to in-depth analysis and reporting, the Project YouTube brings you the biggest stories from Australia and around the globe. Hit the subscribe button now for news delivered straight to your feed.